Place 33, Secrets of Universal Truths Revealed by Sherilyn Bridget Avalon. Chapter 1, The Beginning. Let's peer in on a session Sherilyn is having with her hypnotherapist. She is distraught because her belief system has been compromised. While under the influence of hypnosis, she tells the truth. "How did it all start?" the counselor asked her. "Let's start from the beginning," she says. "Okay," Sherilyn replied. "I always had an adventurous spirit. I read the book There Is a River by Thomas Segru. The book was about Edgar Cayce, who was an American psychic. During the turn of the century, he possessed the ability to answer questions on subjects such as healing and wars, as well as experience visions of the world ending. He was a seer, and he would go into a hypnotic trance and heal others while seeing their spirit. It was at that point in time she realized that's what she wanted to do. She had no idea what it meant. After being raised a devout Catholic Christian, it opened her eyes to the possibilities of the other side of the veil. Growing anxious about sharing her story, Sherilyn said, Okay. Look, when I first started coming here to these counseling sessions, it was just to humor my mother. Now I don't know if things are up or down, if this is real or not real. It all started when my biological father entered a contest. An eccentric old man offered to give him a prize of $1 million to the person who could prove the existence of the soul. Dad got an honorable mention in that contest and was chosen as one of the people who had proof of a soul, in a way. His proof came from books. He said when an author writes something and you read it back, it brings the soul of the individual who wrote the book present. That is, as long as the thought remains alive, then the soul remains alive. The hypnotherapist found that a fascinating way to explain the existence of a soul. However, that's only one dimension of the riddle, Sherilyn concluded. He also believed there was no such thing as an afterlife. Can you imagine? You're just dead and in the darkness for eternity? That's it? Sherilyn wiggled in her seat while relaying this thought because it bothered her so much. Sherilyn's biological father left when she was very young, 2 years old. She didn't have the opportunity to know him till later in life. Mother remarried, and she then had a stepfather around the age of 5. He's a good man, Sherilyn said. He just didn't know how to handle children. He did the best he could at the time, I suppose. He did teach me to be entrepreneurial and always do my best, she states enthusiastically. But her grandfather was always there for her as a child. She and her grandpa were generally close. She loved him so much, then she remembered. He always came to visit us on Wednesdays. He always brought pie and ice cream. Mom would cook a delicious homemade dinner, she recalled, which he always enjoyed because he was divorced and he didn't cook much. She also remembers running outdoors with her 2 brothers, knowing sunrise was about the time when he would show up. So they raced over to Grandpa's car to see who would get there fastest, who would get the ice cream first. When Sherilyn was 15 years old, Grandpa took her on a trip to Lake Tahoe. He liked joking about how his brand new sports car, a 1974 Chevrolet Camaro, was a chick magnet. With a wink, he would chuckle about how she would deter all the women who might be attracted to him in his sporty ride. They stayed with her cousins in their cabin at the lake. Sherilyn was so excited and happy to see them because they had always had so much fun every time they got together. This time was no exception. One night, her and Grandpa visited the lounge at Harvey's. She should have been 21 to get into the lounge, but back then they were more lenient with the rules. She remembers feeling uncomfortable and nervous about sitting in the lounge, even with Grandpa. So they sat way in the back, in a corner booth. Frankie Finale was in his final act when the bartender handed Grandpa a note, which she still has. It read, "Don't bite your fingernails, it's a dead giveaway." She stopped biting her nails and sipped on a soda quietly. Being so embarrassed, nothing was said about it again. She just enjoyed hanging out with him no matter where they went. Country legend Johnny Cash was playing in Lake Tahoe that weekend. She didn't get to see him, but she saw Bob Hope and the comedian Lulu. Sean Connery was there. Grandpa was so pleased he managed to get his autograph. Her cousins saw Elvis and Liberace. It was the best trip ever, a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. Then it was time to turn around and drive home. That's when she thought she might give Grandpa a heart attack on the way home from the trip, because he let her drive for the first 100 miles on the highway. She was practicing driving to get a learner's permit soon. On the first stretch of the trip, the roads were curvy and winding. She received little instructions on what to do when a semi-truck heads straight for your car. So she swerved a little to the right, almost to the edge of the cliff in the Nevada mountains. Her heart felt like it was pumping 70 beats per second. With the help of her grandpa's strong arm on the steering wheel, he pulled her back into the lane. Then he had her pull over so he could pop one of his nitroglycerin pills. That was the first time she realized he took any kind of medication. He calmly said he would drive now. They finally made it home to Arizona in 7 hours safely. 2 years later, Mom, who was pregnant after 16 years of trying, had a scare before finally coming home from the hospital with her new baby boy. Well, what happened was, Sherilyn's little brother, Mike, was born face first. It was early in the morning, November 9th, 1974, and Sherilyn called Grandpa to invite him over for breakfast. She had finally got a hold of him. I guess he was in the shower. She said, "Grandpa, you've got to come over and see Mom's new baby. He's adorable, except for the bruises on his face." The bruises were from the forceps during the birth. She always said, "Mike just wanted to see where he was going before he got here." A little family humor. She was playing pool with her brother Walt. An hour passed by, then 2 hours, and finally 3 hours passed. Grandpa never missed a chance to come over. To our house, she thought. That was not like him at all. She was growing worried. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was her uncle calling to tell us Grandpa was found dead, wrapped in a towel after getting out of the shower. He was lying halfway off his bed with his nitroglycerin pill bottle still in his hand. He could not get the childproof cap off to pop one of his pills. Grandpa transcended that day. He had a weak heart. The doctor said it may have been caused from having rheumatic fever as a child. She remembered crying and crying. That was her first experience with death. Her wonderful grandpa was gone. She knew she would never see him again. Grandpa would miss all the things they talked about. Her first love, getting married, and having babies. She wanted him to be there for all of it. "He and I were tight," she exclaimed, while crying hysterically. She was his only granddaughter, and he always treated her like a princess. Obviously, she felt certain she would never see or hear from him again. Not so.